On Parashat Ha'azinu, which was Shabbat Shuva this year, I gave the following Devar Torah. And it's actually based on a Devar Torah that the Chida gave on Shabbat Shuva of another year. In it, he gave a parable very much akin to one of Rabbi Nachman's parables, but he begins by saying that anyone who repents is given an additional honor and a cherished name by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Then he gives the parable. The parable is of a king who has a mission for a messenger to a distant land. Now, in order to prepare the messenger, he first tells him, don't worry, I have prepared the way. There will be people along the way to help you, and you must listen to them. And I've given you a set of instructions, and if you follow them to the letter and listen to the advice you're given, you will succeed. So the messenger's on his way, and he comes upon a crossroads. On the left path, he sees a very pleasant road, well paved, straight, full of happy people, rich people, trees, success, wealth, pleasures galore. And on the other path, barren, it's twisted, there's thorns, there's thistles. While he's contemplating which way to go, a sage comes with a very stern but holy look on his face, clearly sent by the king. And he says to him, my son, don't fall for the left road, the good-looking road. Most people who go down that road end their life in horror. It doesn't lead to anything good. The one on the right, even though it may look difficult at first, it eventually straightens out, smoothens out, and becomes a straight, holy, good, eternal road that will definitely take you to your destination. Now, the messenger would be a fool to ignore this advice. Now, Hashem created us in Shemayim, the highest of heavens, and there we dwell for all eternity, drinking and eating from his sustenance. It arose in his will to send us on an important mission for him into this dark and lowly world. And he tells us, keep the Torah and listen to Moshe. Whatever he tells you, you shall do, and you will succeed. When we get down here, we grow up a bit and we suddenly realize that there's two paths before us. One is the path of worldly pleasures and material goods, and the other is the more difficult path of Torah and mitzvot. Moshe, the stern sage that Hashem sent for us, tells us, I presented before you today life and death, a good path and an evil path. Follow the good path, choose good. We would be foolish to listen to Moshe, even though Torah expects us to rein in our material concerns, deny our physical pleasures to some degree, and work hard. But Moshe says, guaranteed that path will lead to the ultimate good, eternal good. But if you follow the other path of pleasures and material concerns, most people end that way in horror. Don't do it. Now the Chida goes on to explain that people might object and say, how do you know? Nobody tried it. Maybe we should try it before we believe you. So then King Shlomo comes along and said, and we know as the wisest man of all, and also the richest man of all, he tried every single worldly pleasure, and he concluded in Kohelet, Hevel Havalim, everything is vanity, all is vain. But we don't need to go there, because I don't know about you, but I certainly have, because of the world we're living in, and my own failings, have spent much of my life pursuing physical pleasures and material concerns. And I have come to the conclusion that they are empty already, by myself. No doubt about it. I was actually telling my children the other day, when they thinking about a game on Shabbat, and I wanted to not think about it. I said, look, I know that the game is full of fun right now. Hashem put a lot of fun into it, but he didn't put an endless amount of fun into it. At some point, you are going to get bored of the game. It's already happened to you with other toys, and it will happen to this one as well. And then you'll move on to the next toy, but that also only has a limited amount of fun in it. And eventually, you'll realize that Hashem only put a limited amount of fun into the material things in the world, and the only true good, the only true pleasure, the only true delight comes from the eternal holiness of Torah and mitzvot. So don't ever neglect those. It's very funny, my kid, I overheard him, like my 4-year-old said to his mother, Mummy, Daddy said that when you're old man, you don't have fun anymore. So I think we get it though, right? We're in a position to truly do Teshuva in a way that we will never sin again. We'll mean it. We don't want the physical worldly pleasures anymore. We've realized they're vain. From experience, we can never go back. That is why Hashem gives us the additional honor and the cherished name, a truly repentant Baal Teshuva. And we have the opportunity to teach others and not let them make the same mistake as us. And now we can spend more time this year doing mitzvot, learning Torah, building on that eternal goodness that is straight and will never run out, will never diminish. In fact, it only ever increases. And that is going to teach us the supreme value and pleasure of serving others, doing good for others. The true happiness, the true pleasure we feel when we feel like we did something for somebody else. We made another precious human being who wants to have a good life, just like us, who wants to be happy, to like life. We made them like life. We contributed to that. We're responsible for that. And there is a supreme godly pleasure in that. Truly, that is why Hashem created the world. That's the pleasure that He gets from giving to us and gives us the opportunity to partake of that very goodness. And we are able to do it now in this generation. So this year, let's have the eternal, perfect joy of serving Hashem, bringing Him nachat ruach, and bringing our children, our wives, our friends, our relatives, our elderly parents, the poor man in the street, whoever we can, in whatever little area of the world that Hashem left to us, we can take the supreme joy of holy, good, perfect, godly joy of serving others and enjoying it and doing it authentically from our heart, with all our heart and all our soul. Now, I just want to add one more thing. Something interesting happened this year. The very first day of Teshuva, of the 7 days of Teshuva, is Shabbat. And we know that the blessings of Shabbat are for the rest of the week. And we know that the blessing of this Shabbat is the Teshuva that we are allowed to do on Shabbat, which is this very type of Teshuva. Not coming close through crying and talking about sins. We're not allowed to do that. That's a lower form of Teshuva. The higher form of Teshuva is the one we're allowed and supposed to do now, which is reconnecting, getting closer, spending the day in joy, contemplating the goodness of the world and the goodness of the opportunity that we have to give to others, and increasing in that and getting closer to that and getting closer to others. And as a result, we should be able to do that this year, the whole week. Really do higher Teshuva. And I can assure you that kind of Teshuva is the best kind of Teshuva, and it will give us that clean slate that we're looking for in all of our relationships, including our relationship with Hashem and our own soul. Shana Tova.